So, lawyers swear a lot, I hear. College students cheat a lot. Yeah. But, and it drives college professors like me absolutely crazy. But the nice thing about it is a lot of times they're actually fairly easy to catch. Even years and years ago. I mean, I remember I would be grading papers, writing along a good introduction, run-on sentence, whatnot, and I'd be trying to follow what they were saying, and they'd be like, so I know like a lot of philosophers think like the mind and the brain are totally the same thing, but I had this friend who had this car accident, and like he actually saw his soul like go up to the moon afterward, but multiply realizable properties are just another manifestation of disjunctive properties. And so the prospects for a really true non-reductive materialism are really not that good. What happened? Like either the student got a lot smarter all of a sudden, or the I Dream of Jeannie episode they were watching while they wrote the paper ended, and they got a lot better at their thinking, or they probably plagiarized from a published philosophy. But yeah. And it just makes us crazy. But you know it, you call them in, you catch them, and it's actually a lot easier to catch them now because a lot of times you're reading along in the paper, and all of a sudden, just like before, their prose style suddenly changes. But nowadays, often not only does their prose style change, the type font starts changing. It goes from the New Times Roman minimalism that students usually like to the curved Helvetica of Wikipedia. Often with helpfully highlighted blue text right there, with conveniently clickable links to other articles on the web, right? And so, when that happens, I just go ballistic and I call them into their office and like, what were you thinking? Like, you could go to jail for this. That's what I usually tell them. Like, Jimmy Wales, the founder of Wikipedia, he's a billionaire. He is going to come after your ass. You wait, It's terrible. It's awful. So, I don't even want to talk about it. What I do want to talk about is actually the very first case I caught cheating. I got here in 1991, and the first class I was teaching was a philosophy of science class. What is a good explanation? What's the difference between science and non-science? And I was a little worried about the papers the students were going to write, but I was coaching them through all the way. And so, at the end, the last day, we're going to write this paper. We're going to have this paper. Write about something you really like. Write about something that's important to you. And here are the sources you can look. And here's the kind of ways you can go and look these up. And here's how you make sure that you don't plagiarize. And I was coaching them along, and I started reading all the papers at the end, and they weren't that good. But they were trying, like, really hard, and I keep, reading one after another, kind of being disappointed, until I got to the last one. Okay, the last one was by this senior student, and it was really good. It was a paper about Professor Jerry Fodor's view of language, and he starts off in the beginning of the paper laying out the issues he's going to discuss, and it's really nice and clear, and I wrote, good introduction. And then he summarizes Professor Fodor's views, and very fairly, and I write nicely summarized. This is really good. And then he starts criticizing Fodor's view about reference. And I said, that's exactly right. That's what I think is wrong with Fodor's view of reference. This is really good. So I write, really, really insightful. Right? And so the next thing, he starts writing about Fodor's view about the links between words. And it's pretty good. It's right on. I said, this seems right on, but what Jerry Fodor is going to say is that there's actually two kinds of meaning holism, and this is a good criticism of the first kind, but it's not going to work for the second kind. And I start writing about this in the margin, and I read down a little further, and he says, now, of course, what Fodor is going to say is that this only counts for criticism of the first type of meaning holism. I went, wait a minute, this is weird. Oh, the student was so good, and this paper's got to be plagiarized. But this is a fairly recent book, and it's not written a lot. And then I remembered, there was this article written, that was a review article of Fodor's psychosomatics published in this really obscure journal called Pragmatics and Cognition. And I happen to know about it because I wrote it. And I thought, no, that couldn't be, right? He couldn't possibly take a paper of mine, plagiarize it, and then hand it to me, expecting to grade it and think that I wouldn't notice. But, I went out to my shelf, I got my, this is my only article I'd written at the time, and, took out my copy of Pragmatic Discussion, took his paper, and almost word for word the same. And I can't believe this. And I was really mad, but also a bit puzzled. What was he thinking? So I called him into the office and said, Tim, you want to talk to me about this paper? He said, oh, yeah, I do. I said, he said, did you like it? I said, yeah, I liked it. A lot. But don't you think you got these ideas from another philosopher? He said, oh, yeah, I got them from you. I read your article on pragmatics of cognition. I said, yeah, I know, but you wrote the same words that I did, and you didn't quote me, or you didn't attribute anything to me. That's plagiarism. He said, oh, no, this wasn't plagiarism. I said, why not? He goes, I changed 2 words per sentence. I said, come again? He goes, I changed 2 words per sentence. I said, and that's not plagiarism, because he said, that's how you write papers, right? You go to a good source, and you change 2 words per sentence, and that's how you write a good paper. And I realized that it was not going to work to threaten this guy with jail, and that he'd clearly been talking to the same crew that convinces people that if your roommate dies while you're in college, it's in the handbook that you get straight A's, right? So I said to him, no, this is not how term papers work. You've got to do it differently, and I talked to him about academic integrity and how to write and how to, cite sources correctly and whatnot. And it was a really very good lesson for him, and it turned out to be a good lesson for me, because the next paper I graded, right, it was another clear case of plagiarism, and so I called that guy in. I said, Mark, the second half of your paper is Kant's Critique of Pure Reason. Did you think I was not going to notice that? He said, oh yeah, I thought you'd notice it. I was like, you take another person's words and you don't quote them, that's plagiarism. He said, oh, no, I changed all the adjectives. Kid you not. So, I've learned a lot over the years about it, and now I know to tell students that, look, if you think you've got a good, quick and dirty and easy way to write a term paper, you don't. You're cheating. And I tell the professors that I work with that, look, if you really think you can teach students to write good, responsible papers by mumbling some words about academic integrity, and then as you're grading the paper, trying to boost their confidence by saying good introduction, very insightful, good summary, and you think that's going to teach them to be better writers and whatnot, you're probably cheating. So, thanks.